Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Sorry I wasn't online last week, but it was Good Friday in the UK, and I just wanted some time out, so switched off completely. But we're back, and I'm going to make every effort to do this every Friday, unless there is a public holiday and so on. But I hope that we are all well and safe as one can be. Been a long week, although in the UK it's only been a short week because of the bank holiday weekend. But I'm not gonna lie, I am pretty tired. But had some good conversations. Signed a client this week, so pretty happy with that. And ran the first session with them earlier this week. Introduction to social. 42 people across Europe, and initial feedback has been positive. And what else has been going on? My Wi-Fi today has been terrible. My This is only on my phone though, my iPhone 10. Not exactly sure as to what the problem is, but anyway, I digress. Went a bit off topic with my hashtag Ask Alex video for any Fast Show fans. Hopefully that'll raise a smile and bring back some fond memories of when life was simpler, as it were. But let me know in the chat if you're online. If you want to ask me any of the questions, then please do that, and we can just go from there, I guess. So yeah, I mean, UK, we're 3 weeks in or 4 weeks in. Well, we're 4 weeks in because we've been. We did the week before the lockdown went in, but then yesterday, the UK government said it's another 3 weeks. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. But I think, yeah, it's interesting times for sure. And I was very fortunate that yesterday I was invited to be on a webinar hosted by Andy Culligan, the CMO from Lead Feeder, and was joined by three other experts: Declan Mulkeen, Aaron, forgive me, I forget your surname, and Will Brighting, I think. ABM, account-based marketing tactics were talked about, how to move your events from sort of offline to online. Aaron is the author of two books, I should say. One is Predictable Revenue, and the other, again, Aaron, forgive me, I can't remember, but yeah, it's exciting for me because well over 1,000 people signed up for the webinar, and we had some really good discussion because it was around how do you pivot your sales and marketing strategies within the current climate that we are in, and how do you go to market? Should we be selling? And what came out loud and clear with all of this was that yes, of course you need to be doing outreach. For sure you need to be doing outreach, but there has to be some absolute understanding in the current situation, both personally for the people that you are reaching out to. That could be personally in terms of stuff they're having to deal with at home, through to stuff they're having to deal with at work, and especially if you're reaching out to leaders, it could well be that they're having a crappy day anyway, and they've had to let go a number of their staff, or a number of their staff have had to take pay cuts so that business can keep going. And there has to be some recognition around that. And I have seen some really poor, is that the right word? I think, crass attempts at, maybe just changing what was the copy and paste around an automated outreach email that has just had, I hope your family is safe and well, and then it goes straight into the pitch, which is just not going to land at all, because there has to be empathy behind this, and there has to be some absolute recognition as to what is happening. And what I'm finding that is working well for me is that I'm going back through my pipeline. I left things alone for about 2 weeks, just while I was trying to figure stuff out in my head, and we as an organisation were trying to figure out where things were and what our approach should be. We kept going with the outbound, but we started to change the strategy and the approach somewhat, dialed it down a little bit. But what we are now doing is going back through the existing pipeline that was there, kind of still is there, and just seeing what we can do to help. Literally just picking up the phone, reaching out via WhatsApp or LinkedIn Messenger, whatever it is, and just checking in and say, look, do you want to have a chat? Do you want to have a conversation about what is going on? And I'd love to see if I can help in any way, shape, or form. And I genuinely mean that. And what I mean by helping, it's like, problem shared is a problem halved. Are there people in my network that I might be able to help our clients with? For example, on the webinar yesterday, on the live chat, a lady asked a question around what should a family law firm be doing in terms of marketing in this current climate? Because of course, family law, tragically, is actually going to be quite busy because of people being forced into situations where they can't necessarily escape relationships, children in difficult situations, and so on. So it's kind of a weird thing that they are going to be probably busier than usual because of this tragic situation. And ironically, it was actually somebody that I had met in a previous life when she was at one of our clients. And I just messaged her and I just had a call with her today. I said, look, I'm more than happy to have a chat with your managing partner, give an hour of my time in terms of the basics of LinkedIn. But, in my view, this is what I believe you should do. I'm not an expert in this. And my view is I think because it's more B2C, they should be focusing probably more on Facebook, more so than necessarily on LinkedIn. But I'm going to reach out to my network and see if there's anybody, who are experts in Facebook advertising and so on. And it's things like that which will come back and pay you 100 times over when we come through the other side of this. And from the webinar yesterday, we will come through the other side of this. There's absolutely no two ways about it. But it's the actions that you do now and today, tomorrow, the next week, because every single country is in a different place in this journey. Everybody is in a unique situation depending on where they're at from their family life, work life, large organisation, small organisation, whatever it might be. And a lot of what was being discussed yesterday is Aaron was saying that, and I think I touched on this not last week but the week before last, is that selling is still a people-to-people play, and it has to be more than ever a people-to-people play in the current environment. And that's what you need to be thinking in terms of the outreach that needs to happen. And this could be email, this could be phone, this could be social, this could be everything. The medium will be dictated by your audience. But what I would suggest doing, if you're still sitting there thinking, what can we do or how should we do this, is first and foremost, and kind of bizarrely, I've been talking about this for years, and this concept really is nothing new, but actually go and talk to your client base and just understand what was working, but more importantly, what are they seeing, what are they hearing, what can you do to help. So back to that example, that family law firm, I kind of asked that question. I said, what are you hearing? What is it that actually your client base are talking to you about? And she said, well, actually, at the moment, there are a lot of children that are stuck overseas because they can't get back, and etc. And it's actually the problem in terms of how do we get them back. I said, okay, if that is what you are hearing from your clients who you're talking to, then that obviously is a burning problem right now. So create some narratives and content around this is what you are hearing, this is how we can help. Not in an ambulance chasing type of way, which is, hey, look at this problem and we're here to solve it all, but in an empathetic way to the audience. So someone can come across, it could be a sponsored ad on Facebook, it could be a blog post, it could be a tweet, it could be part of an email campaign, it could be all of that. That's the thing. It could well be all of those mediums. But someone comes across it, they bump across it, they go, oh my God, I am in that situation. That is exactly what's happening to me, and I need help and advice. And I think this is the next kind of bit to it, is that offer that help and advice. If you can add any links to, whether it's your own through your own proprietary content, or to other links, other people that can help in those particular situations. So going back to picking up the phone, and this is what was coming out again yesterday. More and more so yesterday, was just actually pick up the phone and have a conversation, because people are happy to talk and talk through and say, look, what is going on out there? What can we do? But I also believe that what also came out of this was that we will not be going back to the current way of working. How we were working yesterday, we're not going to be working like this tomorrow. And the role of kind of social media that is being played today versus where I think it was 6 months ago, we're in a really, really interesting kind of, I think, crossroads in all of this, because one cannot get away from the problems that social media presents. And a bit of a debate going on a post I made yesterday where I saw that on the BBC, I'm on TikTok, and it's actually quite an amusing place to be, just for a bit of light relief. But there is an 84-year-old granddad who's now, through the help of his teenage daughters, he's posting stuff on there, and he's now, he's TikTok famous, and well over 1.5 million followers in the space of a couple of months, and that platform is changing rapidly in terms of its user base, based on what is out there. But it's if we look at kind of where social media the journey it was going through, dare I say, it all kind of started out from Cambridge Analytica and the issues that Facebook weren't admitting to. We are in a bit of a crossroads, because it's evident that, and we all knew this, but it is evident that social is ever more critical than it ever was, purely from just a basic human connection, communication, point to point. Speaking to I'm making my mother do WhatsApp video calls. We use Zoom calls, and Zoom's not without its problems at the moment, but again, tell me a technology solution that doesn't have privacy issues. Okay, theirs were probably worse than others, but they were caught out by the speed at which people were wanting to use their software. And again, the simple thing of reading some blogs on it is that with Zoom it was one click and it's done. And that's part of the debate that I was having online yesterday, is that yes, okay, social media has got massive problems, and the way that fake news gets spread so quickly and is going unchecked. I mean, the crazy thing in the UK around 5G masts, I should say, broadcast masts being responsible for the virus, is utterly insane, but obviously being peddled by some celebrities who are idiots, but some who should actually know better, and they then had to come out and go they were wrong. But the point is that we need this more so than ever, and it looks like we're going to need this more so than ever for the foreseeable. So it's, how are they going to play this out in terms of what can they give back to society through, albeit we are seeing that ad revenue for the moment is dipping. It will come back, I don't doubt, in a different way, and it was already moving into a different kind of journey and iteration of that anyway, into kind of the customization. So we're kind of expecting more and more of a purely customized journey for us, rather than that broad personalization. But social is an interesting place, and I think it'll be interesting to see if anything actually comes out of this, if a new platform is born out of this. But looking at how we are now communicating and how video is becoming ever more, which is basically baked into everything that we do. I've never done so many video calls in my life. Seeing other people on LinkedIn, and some have reached out to me for advice in terms of actually posting video. And actually posting videos like I do in terms of, and some people have gone straight into the the kind of the comedic or singing songs on guitars, and I look at the 2 years it's taken me in my journey from sitting there talking straight to camera like I am now, through to doing things like I did today on my hashtag Ask Alex, or I've done previously in terms of being Captain Jack Sparrow or standing in a shower. But these individuals are, some of them are putting me to shame in terms of just going straight for it and getting great engagement and great success for it. So I think there's a huge opportunity here, and then of course it will become saturated. But then we go full circle to video and look at the success of TikTok. And I urge you, if you're not on it, just go onto YouTube and just find some TikTok videos, because it is absolutely crazy some of the content that is being created out there. But actually, more importantly, is actually some of the brands that are now starting to leverage it and leverage advertising in there and so on. And these are 15-second to 60-second video clips that anything from teenagers through to 84-year-olds are using to post and promote content. Yeah, there's some bad stuff on there in terms of it's not exactly appropriate, through to some very, very funny, light-hearted stuff. So everything is being forced to change rapidly. And I read a post from, and David, forgive me, I'm going to forget your surname. I'll dig it out. The European lead partner for workforce advisory at Ernst & Young, and he had written a post about how the world of the new world of work has been changed in 100 tragic days, and it was a very well written piece around what organisations should be thinking about the here and now, but actually what will tomorrow look like, because his sentiment was that we will not go back to normal office life as we know it, because we've already proven that we're able to do a lot of certainly the advisory type work and the consulting type work, and the work where it is phone based, or it is meeting based, where people come to and from meetings. I'm not counting kind of retail in this. I think it's a slightly different place. But why do we need to be in the office all day? Why do organisations need to have that real estate cost? But what was also interesting, and I think I've been having more and more discussions around this and more thoughts around this, is actually the flip in the relationship between kind of family, work, and the employer. And I think the employer has, especially larger organisations, so the likes of the EYs, but any not them, it's any massive global organisation, is going to have to think very long and hard about, when we do get back to some semblance of normality and people going into the offices, people are going to be thinking, well, hang on a second, why the hell do I need to do this commute? Why do I need to pay the X thousands of pounds a year to do this when I don't actually need to do it? And this is giving me far more time with my children, my partner, whoever it might be. And I was only discussing this with Nicola, my wife, the other day. She's Big Four. I'm running a business with Tim and Adam, and we're flat out all the time as well. Trying to build the empire, as it were. But it's for the first time in a long time that Nicola and I have actually felt we've actually been able to sit down and have proper conversations with each other, and actually spend some time with each other and get into a routine around exercise and all this kind of stuff. So I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see how that kind of aspect plays out around what will the new employer-employee relationship be? And firms that I believe try and go back to how it was will just start to lose their staff, or lose good people. So it was, as I said, I'll dig it out and I will attach it to the comment section in the video, because it's a really, really great read. Of course, the other thing that he touched on, I hadn't really considered this. If you are a global company, each of your varying geographical locations are going to be at different stages in terms of the return, in terms of which countries can do what when, which is going to create even more of a kind of a bizarre, dare I say, it's working dynamic. But going back to other things that were discussed on the webinar yesterday, what else did we touch on? We've talked on outreach. I think one thing that's on the outreach piece, if you've written a piece of content, let's say you've written an outbound email, or you've written an email, doesn't really matter, or maybe a piece of content you want to put on social media. And I've heard this before, but I've never actually done it. I never do it. Sometimes you hear things, God, I've heard that before. I need to do more. I need to do that myself. Is read it out aloud. So read out what you've written aloud and listen to how it sounds. Because if it sounds awkward in terms of when you read it, then the chances are when the person reads it, whoever's receiving it, especially if it's cold outreach, it's going to sound really, 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 really awkward. So use that as a way to kind of think about how it sounds. But then more importantly, things like, imagine if your partner or your mother or your father or your son or daughter, if they received what you had written, how do you think that would have made them feel? And a lot of this has always been the case, but everything more so than anything is actually about how does one feel. And if you look at that and go, well, I wouldn't want my mother, father, son, daughter, granny, granddad, whatever relation to you receiving that, why would the person you are sending it to want to receive it? Because just because they're not related to you doesn't mean that they are not a human being and not have the same feelings. And it's whenever we talk about this within our sessions or our workshops, especially around content, again, we kind of bring it back. And I know that you know this, but put yourself in your client's shoes. And it sounds so cliche, but the person you are marketing to, finance director, CEO, doesn't matter, whoever it is, whatever the job title is, whatever the industry, it could even be from a consumer perspective, it doesn't matter. You are one of hundreds, if not thousands of people sitting in a virtual room or in those marketing discussions, having that same conversation. Yet when we're doing this, we seem to think in our heads that we are the only people that are doing this to the person you are marketing to. But of course we're not. So the same person that you are marketing to is going to receive the same 1,000, let's say, or 100, 500 bland outreach emails. Could be social media posts, could be any type of content. Again, the medium is quasi-relevant in this. And they're just going to scroll past it. They're just going to ignore it, even if it gets into their inbox. So you just got to take a step back and think, okay, if 100 other people are probably going to be saying the same thing, what can I do that's going to stand out? What can I do that's going to be a little bit different? Maybe not even send the email at all. Could be, if you're not using your email open rates, start to interrogate that data, understand who is opening your emails and engaging and who isn't. Those that are opening your emails and engaging, then continue emailing them. Those that are not, don't bother emailing them. Because I guarantee what you will find, if over time they actually want to receive your emails, they will either pick up the phone to you or they'll email you saying you've stopped emailing. And then you can say, well, we didn't want to clog up your inbox. So just think of it that you are one of thousands who are sitting there going, I want to email to this one person. Yet this poor one person is getting all these people coming towards them. And that leads me on to what was also being discussed yesterday. This was Declan Mulkeen, was around an account-based marketing strategy. And this is the absolute importance. And I did a post on this this week. It all blurs into one, doesn't it? Around data, and more importantly, intent data. This has been around for years, and intent data is what it says. It's intent, and business to consumer has been doing this for donkey's years. Always, as far back as when you get your store card and you scan it, and then that logs all your purchases, and then they bring out the vouchers based on your previous buying behaviour, probably modelling it against other people who are similar to you, and go, you're probably going to need this in the next couple of days. So here's a voucher discount to come back in, or when we could go back into the store to get that at a discounted rate, because once you're back in their store, you're captive and you're going to buy more stuff, right? So this is nothing new. But of course, business to business has been relatively slow to pick up on this. And again, you've got social listening technology. So Brandwatch is one of them. There's Salesforce Studio is another one, where you can listen online to social. Apart from LinkedIn, LinkedIn is the only social media platform that doesn't allow this. And I know there have been some changes on Facebook and Twitter, which makes it slightly more complicated. You can kind of listen to people's intent, sentiment, what they are talking about, not talking about, hashtags and so on. You then take it next level. You've got the likes of Bombora and Spiker, who take this one step further, and they start to aggregate thousands of public data points. It costs money for you to do this, but then they, through I don't know how the black magic works with the algorithms, they can start to, based on what it is your products, your services, your brand, competition, start to infer who's doing research on what, when, maybe what kind of stages they are in the buying cycle. You then start to layer this with things like your website data. If you have websites and you're not even at the basics using Google Analytics to work out, vague trends in terms of website traffic, who's visiting what, when, if at all, through to the more sophisticated stuff where you might get a HubSpot, for example, to help support with that. Then you start to tie in your social. So things like, as I said, your LinkedIn, which is hard, but you can do it. If you have LinkedIn Premium, you can start to understand who's been viewing your posts, look at the corporate page, understand what type of engagement you're getting there. Then layering CRM data. It is all important. All of a sudden, if you can bring this all into the melting pot, your account-based marketing strategy, your sales strategy, your marketing strategy, I say this carefully because, of course, the data has to be good in the first place. You need to be able to understand. You need to know what questions you want to ask of it, but it will start to write itself. It'll start to tell you what is working and what isn't working, because there's absolutely no point spending tens of thousands of pounds around hosting a website if the wrong people are visiting it, or if nobody's visiting it. Inversely, there's no point hosting a website for £10,000 and paying salaries for people to create content if then you're wasting the data and the insight that has been given to you, because people are coming to your website and it is interesting and they are downloading stuff and so on. And the same goes, come back to like email marketing. Every time, primarily in the professional service space, which is my vertical, but Tim and Adam in B2B and BizTech and SaaS and all this kind of this stuff, Giles in kind of in the HR world, it's go and ask marketing, if you're not already, if you do email campaigns, what are the open rates, what are the click-throughs? Because start to use that data to understand what is and isn't working. And this again was discussed yesterday. This is actually also, I said Tim, my colleague, wrote, and Tim and Adam, I should say, forgive me, their most recent book, Smarketing, is all around actually how sales and marketing need to become almost one. And again, what was being discussed yesterday on the webinar is how sales and marketing, you've got to talk to each other. More so than ever, you've got to talk to each other. Marketing kind of there working out, going, what the hell are we supposed to be doing? Sales, you should be, as I said, picking up the phone and talking to your existing customer base to understand what they're feeling, what would be helpful, what they want to see and read, and then help marketing translate that back into, so marketing then turn that into content, and then the whole firm, organization, I don't care whether you're a 5-man SME through to multi-billion-dollar organizations, should be activating their social networks to start to push that content out with a view to listening to the market. So And I think a big thing that's going to come out of this is that intent data is going to become it's critical. And I think if you can get your head around this now and start to learn about it and start to research it and start to unpick probably what you already have in place at the moment. This is the crazy thing. Most organizations will have CRM. Most organizations will be doing some form of email marketing. You may even have account-based marketing platforms such as HubSpot, Lead Feeder. I mean, there are all sorts kind of out there. You might have some kind of, go and talk to your PR and comms team. They may even have a social listening tool where they're using it for purposes for brand reputation. Well, you can flip it on its head and it's the same tool, but just ask it different questions, get it to listen to different things and just see what that tells you. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. But then it's starting to, how can you then use this this data to act differently or act upon it and then change your strategy or change your course based on the data that you now have in front of you. And it takes me back to a conversation I was having with a law firm partner, one of our oldest clients, both sitting on the board. And we were just chatting about this and chatting about, white space. And I said, well, you've got this, you've got this, you've got that. Okay, white space in terms of, well, this client we do full service, but these clients we don't. So these are the white space. So here's the obvious contenders that we're already doing this here. So can we go over here and do this? I was like, you don't need to buy another piece of software to do this. You've already got the tech in place that you've got. Just start to bring the data all together and just sit there and just look at it. And maybe someone in your IT team, your marketing team, whatever, it doesn't matter, is good at Power BI or Tableau. So understands how to bring all this data together so you can start to visualize it. Then you can start to make some kind of good business development decisions. And yeah, it was kind of interesting that they were talking about it, but dare I say it, that business development wasn't necessarily helping them guide them to the right questions. So I think that was a really good, that was a good debate and good discussion around the intent data piece. And again, what was absolutely, what Declan was saying was that you can't do this. This data cannot be used in isolation. As I've mentioned, you need to start pulling in other pieces, other parts of the firm, other parts, other conversations, which comes full circle back to why, in the current climate, it was already going this direction, but those sales and marketing teams actually get together on, Zoom call, Teams, what have you, and start to just have some open, honest conversations with each other. What's the worst that they're going to happen? You have some honest conversations, and then stuff comes out. You clear the air, you deal with it, and then you can all just move on. And bizarrely, provided the content, obviously going back to what I was saying at the beginning, is empathetic. It recognizes the current situation at a down to a personal level that individuals may be going through, home and work. Now is the time that you actually can try a few things differently, be a bit different. Don't do what everyone else is doing, and do a bit of an experiment, because nobody's going to call you out for it for trying something different, because we're all having to do it. We are all having to do it. I've just this has forced me in terms of starting to revisit how I leverage YouTube and video and live streaming. And I have no idea if this is working or not. And it doesn't really bother me if I do this for 12 months and I get 3 or 4, 5, 10 people watching me. It's good practice, but over time I'll have this content, I will get better, and then I'll have something to fall back on, versus those that haven't started live streaming. So again, it's just trying something different. So yeah, other than that, said that was a good webinar yesterday. What is the new normal? I don't really know, but yeah. So what are we going for? 34 minutes now. I think I'll probably pause there. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to talk about. The one thing I might end on is that word clouding your LinkedIn profile seemed to land really well. this week around how you can work out to work out what your LinkedIn profile is or isn't saying, and I'll put the link to the video I've done on YouTube on that. But in simple forms, go and find in simple terms. I use wordarts.com. We'll go to word cloud and just Google it and see what you can find, and then copy and paste either the about section or the experience section. Probably start with the experience section, assuming you've got some experience section in there, and just paste that into the word cloud template and let it generate the word cloud. And in theory, the words that are the largest are the ones that are mentioned the most, should be standing out based on that's your subject matter expertise. If they're not, then you need to kind of rejig your profile accordingly. But those are my thoughts for today. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. I do appreciate it. And if you're watching this on replay, as it were, or rerun, then if we're not connected on LinkedIn, please do reach out. I might be trying a different piece of software next week. We'll see how that goes. But for now, it is almost 20 to 5 on Friday the 17th of April in the afternoon here in London. So I want to wish everybody a pleasant rest of the afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you may be in the world. Stay safe, keep well, and until next Friday.